Show. I'm here with my band for the culture. How y'all doing, fellas?
Good.
How are you?
All right, all right. Listen, we're about to go live on Comcast Xfinity channel 1623. Y'all, please call everybody, share this to your page, and let everyone know that the Sisaundra Show is on. And thank you all so much for joining us. We love you, and we hope you enjoy the show this evening.
Let's go.
Let's go. Huh?
Thank you. All right, y'all. What we need is for everybody right now to get up, bring your energy, because it's time to start the Sisaundra Show! Oh, yeah.
Yes! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sisaundra Show. Y'all make some noise for my band, your band. It's our band, y'all, for the culture! Listen, y'all, give it up for our music director, Chris on keys. I'll hold it down on guitar. It's Luke Darabon. Come on, Luke. Oh, playing that bass, y'all. Please put your hands together for Doc Reed on bass. Yes. And y'all know we can't hold out on Jonathan Barnes on drums. What you got, John? Hey, get a drummer song. Get a drummer song. Right here, fellas. Yes. Listen, y'all go ahead and get all comfy.
Yeah.
Grab your bubbly beverage and let's get this show started. Let's get it started. Yes. Listen, y'all. Life has a way of testing us, doesn't it? It has a way of pushing us to our limits. People do too. So as children, we're meant to feel safe, protected, loved. But what happens when the very people who are supposed to shield us from the world become the source of our deepest pain? When we trust and when we place trust in our family and it turns into betrayal, the love that we crave feels like a weapon against us. Imagine living through that, feeling abandoned, broken, and lost in the chaos. You don't know who to turn to, and the world feels like it's closing in. But in those darkest moments, something inside you refuses to give up. Today's guest knows this struggle all too well. She's been through the unimaginable: abuse, betrayal, and pain. But she's here to tell her story. She is living proof that no matter how broken you feel, there is always a way to rebuild. Y'all, let's welcome this incredible survivor to the lavender couch. Ladies and gentlemen, Lois Capers. Miss Lois! Dear lady, it is such an honor to have you here. You don't look like what you've been through. Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
When I tell you, have you been tried in the fire?
Oh, my goodness.
My goodness. So you experienced so much pain at a very young age, starting with your mother's passing. Can you please walk us through exactly what happened that day when your mom passed away?
So I was 4 years old, and I didn't know very much. All I saw was my mother getting naked in the middle of the street. And I heard people saying, please don't take your clothes off. And they were grabbing her and trying to put her clothes back on. And I didn't know what was going on at the time because I was so young.
Yes, 4 years old.
And then I saw my mother start to run, and she just took off running. And my brother and I and my little sister, we ran behind her, and we couldn't keep up with her. That was probably the day before she killed herself.
Oh, no.
So I was in school when that happened.
And you were still 4 years old? This all happened around the same time. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
That is very traumatic for any child. After being placed in your father's custody, you were given to your father's bootlegger. What exactly is a bootlegger? I was like, what is a bootlegger and why were you given to a bootlegger?
Well, I call her a bootlegger, but she became my mother. She was an older lady. She was around 67 years old when she took my brother and I in.
At 4 years old, how old was your brother at the time?
My brother was 7 years old.
7, okay.
So he was the oldest. A bootlegger is someone who sells liquor without a license.
Oh, okay.
So you call it a hustler.
Bootleg and a hustler. Okay, so you were given to your father's bootlegger, a hustler who was a mother to you, a woman. Okay, so what exactly happened during your time in the home and what were the daily realities that you lived through?
Well, I was picked on daily. She had a her youngest daughter is about 20 years older than I am, and she had mental issues.
Oh, wow.
And they called her Baby because she was the baby.
Okay.
So she would pick on me when she would get mad with me, and she would say, that's why your mammy is dead.
Oh, my goodness.
So I dealt with that up until I was about 13 years old.
I'm so sorry. Why? Because she was just that kind of person?
They said that she was mental.
Because
she
of
had
her
mental
challenges.
Yes.
So there was nothing anybody
So I had
could
to
do
endure
about it.
that.
You just had to endure her issues. So at 13 years old, you ran away to escape all the trauma. Can you tell us what led you to decide to, I'm leaving, I'm out of here? At 13 years old, that's a very young age.
Because no one would listen to me. They would not hear me when I was telling them that I was being molested. And I guess I was acting out in school. So they said that Miss Robinson couldn't care for me any longer because she was getting older by then. She was probably in her 70s, well into.
So she couldn't protect you. So you decided, well, if she can't protect me, which it doesn't sound like she was able to even protect you if you were going through all of that anyway, you decided the best thing to do was to leave at 13. So at 13, where did you decide to run? Where did you run to?
The streets.
Just in the streets?
I had friends that were older than I was.
Yes.
And they were partying and doing other things, you know, drugs. And I got tied into that at a very early age.
I'm so sorry. What was your journey like after running away? And how did you end up turning to drugs and prostitution for survival? I understand that the friends, the connections you had were in that world, but who said to you, come, try this, do this?
Well, my mother told us, and when I say mother, I mean Miss Robinson.
The older lady that was the bootlegger?
Yes.
Okay.
She says, don't go out of this house and come back with a wet ASS and a dry pocket.
Oh. So she wanted you to go out and earn money?
She said, if you're gonna go out,
You better come back with some money.
you better come back with a.
I couldn't imagine.
A
Could
full
you imagine
pocket.
somebody? Oh my Jesus! I'm so sorry. I just keep saying I'm so sorry because I just can't imagine somebody saying that to a child. But it happened to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. Can you tell us what was your journey like when you ran away? Did you end up turning yourself into the group of people that you were around? You just became, because you needed to go make some money, you couldn't come back with a wet self and a empty pockets?
A dry pocket, yeah. I do not know how it all started with the prostitution. But I know I had to take care of myself.
I mean, if somebody tells you something like that, then I can only imagine that you think, okay, well then this is what I got to do.
I think it came from all of the rape, and when you're out on the streets and you're a young girl, people take advantage of you. So I was already being taken advantage of as a small child, and then up until my teens. So once I got on the street, people were taking advantage of me on the streets. So as a defense mechanism, I started charging.
I'm speechless. So if you're going to do it, you might as well get paid for it. If y'all going to do this, how old were you when you realized that people were taking advantage of you? You
Very
said
quick.
rape. You mentioned the word rape. You were
Yes.
just 5 years old when you got to the house. Did it start soon after that?
No, because I used to sleep with Miss Robinson. And
Okay,
then when
thank
I
you,
was
Jesus.
7 years old, she put me into the room with my brother.
With your brother? Okay, so your brother was safe though, right?
He wasn't safe from the rapist either. I don't believe. I've never saw it, but he left when he was 18 and he never returned.
And did you ever see him again after that?
I've saw him 3 times since.
Since then, wow. If you will just give us a moment, y'all, we're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere because we want you to hear the testimony of Miss Lois Capers. We'll be right back for the culture. Sisaundra Show. I am honored to sit here with Miss Lois Capers. She's sharing her testimony, and she is a true survivor of so many things. I said to you that you don't look like what you've been through, and the more you talk, the more I understand how good God is and how much He has saved you from all the things that you went through to be able to sit here and tell us your story. So many people will be changed, and so many people will resonate with what you've gone through, and I believe that it will be a blessing to their lives. So you were trafficked and faced violent encounters like being kidnapped and having your throat cut.
Slit from
You
the
had
back.
it slit from the back. Oh my God. She's got the scar. My goodness. Can you describe what happened to you in these moments? Why did somebody slit your neck? Why did they kidnap you? What? Please talk to us.
Again, I was a young girl out on the streets with nobody to protect me. And I was on crack cocaine at the same time. So I didn't even realize the dangers that I was in. So when my neck was slit, I was coming back from a trick, and I had my money, and it fell on the ground. Some of it fell, and it was a $50 bill. And back then, they would take their foot and step on it and do it like this and hide
And
it.
slide it back to,
It
okay.
was real slick. And I pushed the lady, and I said, "Oh, no.
That's mine.
Yeah, that's my money." And I picked it up. And so she didn't challenge me at the time. So there was this place in Lakeland called All Brand. That's where everybody hung out and they drank and they did drugs and everything. And so I thought everything was over. I thought we had squashed that in the moment. And as soon as I started getting high, she grabbed me from the back and she started here and came around to cut my neck. And it laid open for days.
Oh my God.
Because
You
I didn't go to the hospital.
the ER. Why not?
I didn't know it was that bad. I kept asking people, "Is it bad? Is it bad?" And
Even though you're looking at it and seeing
I couldn't
it
see
open.
it.
Oh,
'Cause
you
you can't really see over there. And I was so numb from being high, I didn't know that it was that bad.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I was out on the streets, I went back to live with my father. So I was in and out of his home, from the streets to his home. And one day I collapsed at his house. And he saw the cut on my neck. And that's when he rushed me to the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
But they said that it was open too long and they couldn't sew it back up.
So they just left it open? And how did that end up healing then?
Well, they put this stuff called Silverdine cream on it, and it had to heal on its own.
Oh my goodness. Whew. So you were admitted to a mental health hospital. What was your state of mind when you entered that hospital? Why did they decide that was the best place for you to be?
Well, I was trafficked, which I didn't know I was being trafficked because I was young, so I didn't know what was going on. They was like, "We're going to go down south and we're going to make some money," and I was all for it. And I jumped in the car not knowing what was going on. And so once we started making the money, I didn't get any of it. They took it from me. And I know I look real small and, you know, but back then I was rough. So they couldn't contain me. So I ended up going out on my own down south. I broke away from the group. And I didn't allow them to traffic me anymore. And I got my own place. And I thought I was grown. I was going into the clubs and stuff like that down south. It's called, I forgot the place, name of it, because, you know, I'm sitting here now and I can't remember the name. But I was trying to go into the club, and I was too young. And you had to be about 21 to go in the club, and I was 14, 15.
Oh,
I'm not
my
sure
goodness.
how old I was. And the guy who was helping me to house myself, he was the bouncer at the door. And he was like, no, you can't come in. And I was like, you know, let me in, let me in. And he got mad with me, and he grabbed me around my throat, and he just choked me. And then the police was called. And when the police was called, they took me to jail. So when I got in the back seat of the car, I just tore up the whole car, and they just couldn't contain me in the car. And
So that's why they ended up.
so they
Is that
took
called Baker Act?
Yeah, they Baker Act me.
Wow.
And so it,
So they took the bouncer's word over yours because that was his job, was to make sure whoever got out of line, he controlled them. But they didn't know that he was the one that was housing you too.
correct.
Oh, my Jesus. So you were incarcerated, Ms. Capers. After being incarcerated, you mentioned feeling some relief. What made you feel like you found peace in prison or jail?
Which time? Because
Oh my gosh. What was the
Which
time
time?
you felt like, whoo, thank you, Jesus, I'm in here. I'm away from everybody. I feel safer in here than I do on the streets.
Well, I was kidnapped. And then I went to the crazy house, and then they brought me back home from the crazy house.
I ain't heard that phrase in a long time.
Mental institution.
That's okay. Was in the crazy house.
Well, I learned quickly that I had to do what they say do, and yes, sir, no, sir. And I straightened up real quick.
You learned.
Yes.
So
'cause
that you could get
They
out.
kept shooting you with this medicine and make you go to sleep and having, you know, chained down and stuff like that. So,
Chained?
yeah, you on a bed, and they put,
No.
you know, chains on you on each leg, and so you can't move.
Oh my
And then they
gosh.
shoot you with something, and then you go to sleep. So I was like, oh no, I got to get out of here. So I started walking the walk and talking the talk.
Oh, that would
real
make me
quick.
straighten up real quick.
Yeah.
Did they ever put you in a straitjacket?
That's sort of, yes. That's what it is, a straight jacket,
Is
where
it?
they wrap you all up and they put these chains. I say chains, but they're restraints.
Yes, chains. So after you left juvenile detention, you moved in with your aunt, but the abuse continued. Can you tell us what specifically happened when you went to go live with your aunt? It seems like you're moving to family and something keeps happening every time. What happened with Auntie?
Well, she took me to her husband
She took you to her husband?
and said that if he says yes, this is after I came out of the detention center when I got the relief.
Jesus.
Because I heard you say when I was incarcerated,
Yes.
which was the detention center.
Yes.
That's when I started eating well and started gaining my weight back, and I got my mind back, and I was
so good.
healing.
That's good.
And then I got to my aunt's house, and she said I have to ask her husband, can I live there? And he said yes in front of her, but when she left, he said, you know, you got to give me a piece of that thing.
No, he did not. That quickly? He didn't even just wait to move you in and see. He just knew immediately. And do you think your aunt knew that? And that's why she said you got to ask him. And then she walks out?
No,
She didn't know?
I don't think she knew, but she knew from previous times that he tried to do the same thing, but I wouldn't allow it because I used it against him to go wherever I wanted to go.
So Lois, let's move from out of the auntie house. And you said that your father also began to sexually abuse you after you went back to live with him. Why? What happened? How did he? How?
I was asleep. I used to sleep with him because
How old were you then?
that was before I moved in with my aunt.
Okay, so we're gonna go back
This
a
was
little
back
bit.
when
Okay.
that was back when I got the cut and I was on drugs.
Oh wow.
And I was sleeping in his bed, and then one day I woke up and my pants were cut. And
Cut.
yeah.
So let's talk about the success that you've built. You've built a successful career as the first Black female-owned electrical company and a licensed realtor. What specific turning point or actions allowed you to transform your life? And congratulations, praise God, hallelujah. That's amazing. But what was the turning point?
Well, it's simply like this. I was tired of being used by men. I was the single parent of 5 children by this time.
Okay, because we ain't talked about no kids being born. You got 5 kids. By,
6. I have 6 children
6.
altogether.
Wow.
So
Children are gifts to us.
anyway, so I was on my 5th child and I was tired. And so I said, in order to get a man's money, I'm gonna have to do a man's job.
So you stood up and did the work.
I went back to school because I was put out of school in the 8th grade. They said that I was put out of all Polk County public schools.
Wow.
So I went back to school and I was chosen out of 276 graduates to bring the commencement speech.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? I hate to say this, but it's time for us to say goodbye, but let's end on that good note. She brought the commencement speech. Thank y'all so much for joining us. God bless you.